In recent years, with the increase of global carbon dioxide emissions year by year, it has become an international consensus to alleviate global warming by reducing man-made carbon dioxide emissions. Grid emission factor is an important indicator of carbon accounting. Up to now, the installed capacity of new energy in Urumqi has reached 10 million, accounting for 55% of the total installed power supply capacity, and the proportion of renewable power generation has gradually increased. In order to meet consumer needs, we started the exploration of a green electricity energy label in the power grid. The Green Power Energy Label Management Platform in Urumqi contains two functional interfaces: power generation side and power consumption side. The data interface of the power generation side includes 6 modules of various energy installed scale, carbon emission intensity, and carbon emission comparison. We select a time period from November 1st to November 30th, 2023, which can show that the carbon emission factor of Wuxi is 0.5385, which is 19.3% lower than the original carbon emission factor of 0.6671 published by the National Development and Reform Commission. And the carbon emission factor of Daban City is 0.2298. At the same time, the daily power generation data form of each power plant can be exported for archiving or analysis. The lower left module of time display of new energy generation proportion and the carbon emission fence can display the change trend of carbon emission factor and Daban Chen during the query period and the carbon emission factor of Northwest Power Grid region as a comparison. At the same time, it can display the daily total power generation, the daily new energy power generation capacity and its proportion. In the bottom right, intraday carbon emission factor change trend time and display module can rotate the change trend of daily carbon emission factor and Daban Chen during the query period, and the data update frequency is once every 50 minutes. At the same time, the carbon emission factor of Northwest Power Grid is used as comparison. Next up is the user-side data interface. On the left, the change list of user green electricity consumption ratio module can display the username, user type, electricity consumption, green electricity consumption, and the proportion of a green electricity consumption of each special line user. At the same time, the total electricity consumption and the green electricity consumption statistics are directly exported. The proportion of a green electricity consumption can be displayed in ascending or descending order, which is convenient to quickly screen the power users with a relatively high or low proportion of a green electricity consumption. Click any power user, and the intraday user load time sequence display module on the right can display the daily power load curve of the user, which can directly reflect the similarities and differences between users' electricity consumption habits and the high instance of the new energy in Wuxi. At the same time, the total power consumption, green electricity consumption, and the green electricity consumption proportion of the user during the query period, helping users to customize the electricity consumption strategy of helping to achieve a higher proportion of green electricity consumption. By measuring the output of the thermal power unit and the new energy unit in the closed area, calculating the real-time renewable energy proportion of the power generation in Urumqi power grid, considering the electricity behavior habits of users in different periods, analyze the influence of a green electricity energy label on user behavior mode, guide the government to formulate reasonable electricity consumption guidance policies, promote users to adjust their own energy behavior, and realize more adequate consumption of green electricity.